Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Today I bring back Jeff Schick. How you doing, Jeff?
Doing well. How are you doing, Danny?
Yeah, good. I know you was on the show only just last week or so, I think it was, but there's something
Yeah.
just popped up that you were posting the other day, which was quite interesting in terms of the changes on the Amazon.com site. I don't know if it's universal, but to do with the search results pages by taking out their own products. Would you like to elaborate what's been going on?
Correct. So for the last, I'd say about 24 months, Amazon had quietly released this new widget that showed up on the search results called Top Rated from Our Brands. That included anything that was like Amazon Basics or any of the manufacturer accelerator program brands, which Amazon has a whole host of kind of undercover brands, and ranging from pet supplies to, who knows what else, that they included in this, that they were including, where they'd pull these private labeled for Amazon products, and they'd put them under the Top Rated from Our Brands and try to get customers to purchase those brands. Back earlier this week, they just quietly removed that section now. So instead of having this big, huge block at the top of the page saying Top Rated for Our Brands, it just disappeared, and you've got your standard Amazon A9 search results. So the question that I was posing in my group was, is this a result of antitrust scrutiny because Amazon's increasingly under fire for anti-competitive behavior? Or is this a result of some other, profit motivator where Amazon realized they could make more money by offering those slots to third-party sellers? Because obviously, when they're advertising their own products, a lot of sellers may not realize this, but Amazon, when they have their own products, they're not paying any PPC. In fact, the sellers that are providing those accelerator products get an unlimited ad spend at no cost. So the question is maybe they were trying to maximize advertising revenue, since it's becoming an increasingly more important revenue stream for Amazon. And so that's where we've been trying to, kind of started a little lively debate as to, well, what's the real deal behind why this widget was removed?
Well, we know that Amazon is always very clear in terms of the testing all the time. So if I'd like to throw it out there, there's also the opportunity to consider that Amazon run tests, and maybe the benefits of having their own products there versus using up that room for advertising from third party, and the money made from the third party ads, it may be greater because the products, I'm not being funny, but a lot of Amazon basic stuff, it's in the word. I don't think the quality is of super high quality. They don't always look great. So maybe the other brands, the private label brands, are outperforming, and therefore they're taking up this space of this, where they're one of their biggest growers of business is their ad business. But like you said, we can't dismiss the aspect of antitrust. Do you want to let the audience know what's been going on in your mind, of what you've seen going on with antitrust over the last few weeks, or last couple of months? Sorry.
Yeah. So over the last couple of months, we've seen some real interesting antitrust considerations for Amazon. The first was when India announced that Amazon couldn't have both a third-party marketplace and its own private label products on there. That was kind of the first government taking a stand against Amazon. Since then, we've seen people like Elizabeth Warren and other United States representatives and senators that are really starting to question whether Amazon is using its market dominance in a way to harm consumers and to harm small business owners. Because when they control the distribution, they control the platform, they control the data, that they can really use that information to create new products like Amazon Basics. For instance, they'll take Duracell batteries information over to an Amazon Basics manufacturer in China and say, this is how much Duracell makes on Amazon. Copy this product and let's slap an Amazon label on it. And historically, they'd put it at the top of the search result page by saying Top Rated from Our Brands. So when you're searching for Duracell, there's Amazon Basics right there saying, a lower cost alternative, maybe by a couple dollars, but enough often to sway consumers. I mean, I even have Amazon Basics batteries in my drawer. It works, because it's cheaper. And so that's kind of so we've seen these senators, we've seen the state of California, we've seen a lot of politicians going after Amazon saying, are they misusing their data to harm third-party merchants, which in effect, long-term harms consumers because you're removing competition.
That makes sense. So what other trends have you been seeing, moving on from that aspect there? What other trends have you seen as we've rolled into the new year? What's been the most common thing that's coming across your desk at the moment in terms of suspensions, etc.?
So in terms of suspensions, most common thing right now continues to still be intellectual property.
Hmm.
Historically, Amazon would take a shoot first, ask questions later approach where they'd suspend accounts over, maybe one false IP claim. Luckily, they've not been doing that. However, it's still important to clean them up because over time, what we're seeing is that they are building. So they're, if you get one and you don't do anything about it, then they'll, slowly but surely not, and you get more, then your account is at risk of suspension.
Yeah.
But we're seeing that it is, so IP claims from brands continue to be a problem. Interestingly enough, what we're finding is that a lot of brands are starting to realize that filing false counterfeit complaints, this really applies more to arbitrage sellers, but it can apply to anybody. I even have a private label seller that's dealing with false counterfeit claims for a product they make from a huge brand. But a lot of these brands are starting to walk them back now. And so they're starting to realize that when they're filing false claims, if somebody challenges it, especially when they are represented by counsel, like we send a letter off to the brands, they're actually starting to walk it back right away and retract. And so it's the landmines that have been out there historically are still there, and there's more of them, but you can diffuse them much more easily as more and more information is getting out about the dangers of filing false claims.
Yeah, I mean, there was another thing, a bit of verbiage that's changed recently. I see on a post. I can't remember who to credit, but it was regarding that the wording had changed. Is that whereas Amazon has asked you, how do you think you can avoid this happening in future? So
yes, that was one of my clients actually. I posted that.
Yeah.
So one of the word choices normally and historically, Amazon is written back and they'll say, we need greater details on the root cause of the infringement, or greater details on the steps you've taken to prevent infringement going forward. That's kind of where they left it. For my client, what they actually sent to them was a statement that said, not what you're going to do to respond to it, but if effectively, and I'm kind of paraphrasing this, but effectively, what are you going to do to prevent it from happening in the first place?
Yeah.
But they made it very clear, and they actually pulled a specific bullet point out of that plan of action and asked about it. So it wasn't just give us more root causes or give us more detail on what you're going to do, but they actually took a phrase and ran with it and basically wanted a demonstration on that particular bullet point.
So it was clearly that a human was looking over that case. Because
absolutely,
correct me if I'm wrong here. From my understanding, is when the POAs go in, people got a short amount of time to review them. So they're obviously scanning, looking through bullet points, and then they annotate that account. So their feedback. And so they've got their annotations and then your information, whereas normally it's just one-way traffic, isn't it? And it's like a standard email that goes back out. So if they ask you for specific items, instead of saying this is missing, they'll email you back with that same email again, as if to say, you've got to work out there's something missing off this list, go find it. But what you're saying now is that they're actually stopping and reading it, taking it on board, picking out the bullet point from one of your root causes, and then throwing that back at you and saying, what are you really going to do about it? Because we know that some of that stuff is full of horseshit, right? We're going to do this, this, and this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to be magical, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just fluff to fill that and say, sorry, Amazon, slap us over the wrist, we've been wrong. But now there's more interaction with the suspension team. So do you want to go into that?
No, it's actually somewhat, sometimes sellers would get concerned that Amazon's spending more time. I actually consider it a good thing because you can tell that a human's reading this. It's not just your, I used to refer to it as the resume filter, because when you applied it for a job at a big company, half the time you'd never even make it to HR's desk because they've got this resume filter that throws people in the trash. And that's what Amazon historically has been doing with these plans of action, where you can't even get past the gatekeeper to get in front of a human. And now they're actually taking the time to read it and challenge specific bullet points, which means that they're actually paying attention to what you're saying. And it also means that you have much more direction to know how to resolve it and to get back on for Amazon. And so I think it's a really good thing that they're doing, but is it scalable? Because if they couldn't do it before,
if you think just doing that there is probably 4 times more detailed than they've been before, which means four times or 4x on the work front as well. Does that mean they've grown their team?
I'm not sure if that means they've grown their team or if they're training more people to be cross-trained on how to deal with suspensions, which could be the case. I've said I was actually talking to a client yesterday, I would welcome them to raise the monthly fee by $10. Not much for most sellers, enough for the people at the very beginning that it could be a deterrent. But if you were to raise the monthly fee by $10 and add that as a seller performance, hiring thing, with 5 million Amazon sellers or whatever the number's up to these days, that could be a significant amount of money each month to grow that team. And you'd get rid of so many of these problems that happen. But whether Amazon's making that investment now, I'm not sure. Obviously I don't work at Amazon, so I don't know exactly what they're doing, but and they're never signed, seller performance is always just seller performance. You're never signed, but it is exciting to see that they're whether it's a mix of technology or human capital that's increasing the efficiencies. Either way, they are starting to target these plans of action with more detail and more, human interaction, which is just good for sellers in general.
Yeah, without a doubt. Cool. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
I think that's about it. Things are, Amazon right now everything is quiet, which is good. So all is quiet on the home front right now, and we'll see what happens. Main thing for sellers to be watching out for right now is returns. Now is the time that Amazon customers get free returns, and they may choose bogus reasons. And so just keep an eye on those returns. Get your unfulfillable inventory sent back to you so you don't hit long-term storage fees or have it disposed of. And also just be on the lookout, so that way you don't have products get suspended for, complaints, because at the end of the day, a lot of clients on Amazon don't realize, clients meaning Amazon's customers don't realize that choosing that, an item is not as described actually can cause sellers to get kicked off. And so having a plan in place to make sure that you don't end up in that suspended bucket for your top ASINs just because of customers wanting free shipping, is crucial right now. Yeah.
Makes total sense. What's the best way that people can reach you?
People to reach me, probably it's on Facebook. So Facebook Messenger, facebook.com/SchickJeff, SCHICKJEFF is my professional page. And that's the best way for people to reach out to me because I'm available from there all the time.
Cool. And I'll be seeing you in London. You're coming over May 9th as well for Seller Sessions Live. So
definitely looking forward to Seller Sessions Live. It's going to be an awesome event. I can't wait to be there.
Cool. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Jeff, thank you for joining us. I'm sure you'll be joining us again soon. And
all right. Thank you very much.
No worries. And if this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you again in the next few days. Take care.